Friends, good morning. This is hysterical. We were talking just yesterday about how long it's been with no snow, and then wake up this morning, look out the window, and there's a bunch of snow. I said to the, I'm not going to use the words so I don't trigger anybody's devices, but I said to the home assistant, you know, what's the weather today? Clear, maybe cloudy. I said, is it snowing? No forecast to snow. But there's snow, I'm looking at it. So we're gonna head over to Central Park, take a walk, and supposedly now the forecast is showing flurries over the next, hour or two. So we'll see what we see. Hopefully it comes across on the screen for you guys. Preston, 984, good to see you, good morning. If you said hello before Preston, say hello again. I didn't see it since I just hopped on, but it's good to see everybody. Again, it's been too warm lately, so I don't, nothing's gonna stick. Yesterday it was 55 degrees, so the ground is too warm for it to stick, but wanted to show you guys the snow coming down. It's been coming in waves. ABX? Preston. Yeah, I'm not going to say any device names, because the most annoying thing in the world is when a TV show, says the trigger words and all your stuff starts to go off. So I will not force that upon anybody. Simon Davies here. All right, we have all the lights. So this has been on my to-do list with you guys as a live stream. I've done it a number of times as just a recorded walk, which is the drives in Central Park. We're going to try to do a full loop, which is a 6-mile loop. It takes us to every corner of the park. David Duncan's here, good to see you. So again, I don't know, it's very hard for me to see on the screen, but there is very light snow coming down. Earlier, about 20 minutes ago, it was a little heavier. And like I said, it's been coming in waves, so hopefully we'll get another wave where you guys can really see it. But we do have snow coming down as we speak. So hopefully we'll get a little bit of it very visible for you guys on the screen. Saturday, January 14, here in New York City, 33 degrees Fahrenheit. It's awfully cold. I am wearing a glove on my gimbal hand today. Prince Ice is here. And it's fun to see everybody. I tried to rush out when I saw the snow coming down. So here's the plan. We're gonna try to do the full loop of the drives in Central Park, 6 miles. Tom in Vermont, hey, good to see you. And then a couple other things. So we may do some detouring. If anybody saw my recorded Central Park walk from a couple days ago, I went to the pool, which is not it's not a pool for us to swim in. It's just a small body of water called the pool here in Central Park. And there is a unique redhead duck in the water there, or has been. So we'll see if we can find that redhead duck when we get to that neck of the woods. And we may do some other detouring along the way, but the main thing will be the 6-mile loop of the drives. Simon Davey, 10 pounds, a little something for the wine or hot drink fund. Hey, Simon Davey, thank you so much. Appreciate the very, 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 very generous 10-pound super chat. Thank you. 10 times over. Layla's here, and I saw Sebastian. It's good to see everybody. Thanks for hopping on short notice. When the snow started to come down, I rushed right out to get over here. And hopefully, like I said, it's coming in little waves. It's so funny. I went on the radar on the weather.com. They have a big radar that you can look at, and it's hysterical. There was a big system over New York, but there was a donut hole with Manhattan in the middle, which was totally clear, which is why I think the forecast still doesn't say snow. But it looks like this part of Manhattan, kind of we're in sort of the middle of Manhattan, was touching the edge of that donut hole. So, like I said, we may get little waves of the snow. Colleen is here, good to see you. Good morning to everybody. And in Prince Ice's case, good evening, because it must be midnight in Korea. And I think we're going to see more than the normal people out in the park today, especially kids whose parents probably rushed them out the door as well to see what snow we can see. Leila says it wasn't a donut hole, it was a bagel hole. Oh, and you guys hysterical. You have to look at my community page, which is where you can post pictures and stuff. And Nike's going to come out with a pair of sneakers inspired by Montreal bagels. I don't know why they're not New York City bagels, but they're Nike tennis shoes with sesame seeds printed on them. So hysterical. I didn't do any research. Maybe they already did a New York City version. Maybe Montreal's second. I don't know. I'll have to look into those. Gregory Kelly's here. Good morning. Hope Lisa and Caleb are well. Yeah, Lisa's actually asleep. Graham is here, so she's taking care of the kiddo for a little bit while I rush out. Lisa's getting some much needed sleep, but she'll probably be up in a little while. Hopefully she'll join us eventually. Diana Lee is here. Prince Ice says, hour past midnight here. Well, we appreciate you always hopping on, no matter the absurd hour, so thank you, Prince Ice. So good to see everybody. So again, it is snowing. I'm watching the flakes come down. It's very light. We're on the, like I was saying, we're on a donut or bagel hole of this storm where Manhattan's kind of cut out, but we're just enough into it, apparently, or maybe the wind is strong enough, where we're getting wisps of the snow. And about 20 minutes ago, it was like really coming down. So I'm hoping we'll get another one of those where we'll get a big flurry. So stay tuned, enjoy. But in the meantime, like I said, we're going to do the full loop here in Central Park, 6 miles. It takes us to every corner of the park along the drives. There's these winding roads inside the park. The lane we're in is the walking and running lane. In the middle is the bike lane. And in the right, there is a traffic lane, but it's really only used for park vehicles and emergency vehicles. So this is going to be our route today. We're going to take it all the way around, 6 miles. And since it does take us to every end of the park, we may do some detours here and there. We'll see. Take it as we go. Robojacks? Yes, they're running from... I don't know if they're running from or to the snow. We will find out. But it is it's a cold and windy morning, but it is very beautiful. So hopefully it'll be a nice walk for us today here in Central Park. And hopefully a little of the snow at least will come across to you guys. We've just been talking about it for so long. The funniest thing is, again, since it's been so warm recently, yesterday 55 degrees, the ground is probably pretty warm. So it may not stick. So I don't know if this will count as measurable snow or not. I guess we'll find out. But we'll enjoy it for what it is. Have a nice walk together. Ah, it's beautiful over here. So we're on the East Drive, and I've shown you guys this trick before, but if you ever get lost in Central Park, you go to a light pole and you look for these numbers, these tags, and this tag, as you can see, reads E9801. The E means we're on the east side of the park, and 98 means the nearest cross street is 98th Street. The park goes from 59th Street to 110th Street. So if we're at 98th, we're, as you can tell, on the east side of the park at kind of the upper end of the park. And as we've talked about before, the northern end of the park never as busy as the southern end. So if you're newer to the channel or haven't spent a ton of time in the park, you may see some sights you don't get to see all the time, including as we get a little farther up, Harlem Meer, a really beautiful body of water, although there's a lot of construction up here, so we'll see what we see, we'll hear what we hear. But on this side, some beautiful, beautiful trees, lots of fields, lots of baseball fields. It's really nice up here. The major sites are the Conservatory Garden, which is a series of 3 formal gardens. Really explodes in color during the spring and summertime. So it's not quite as colorful right now, but we do visit it from time to time. Harlem Meer, like I mentioned. And then the North Woods, which is a really fun kind of hiking area, really hilly. And there's lots of streams and stuff. It's really fun to get lost in. So lots to see up here. We'll take the drives. And again, we may do some detours to different sites as we go around the park. Cassio's here from Brazil. Hey, good to see you. Diana Lee says, please no bagel popsicle. I did try to dress a little warm today. And I am using a glove for the gimbal hand today. It is 33 degrees Fahrenheit, which, yeah, when you have your hands out for too long, does get awfully cold. But so far so good, and we're kind of moving along, so hopefully we'll be okay today. Here's another one, E0101, so that means we are at 101st Street. Again, the park goes up to 110th. Are you guys getting all the wind on the mic? It is super windy today. Super windy. But it's really nice out. It's really beautiful. And I love when so many people come out to experience the same thing together. Everybody looked out their window this morning, saw the little flurries coming down, and thought, we got to go to Central Park. Cassio says 36 Celsius. Unbelievable. So it's 0 degrees Celsius here. You have a heat wave. David, Gregory, they don't hear the wind. Okay, that's good. So we do have our wind cover on, but it is for me it's super windy. One day I have to start packing up my earmuffs. I'm like, because it's so, every other day it gets so much warmer, I've been hesitant to pack up all the winter gear, unnecessary weight. Simon says it's 0 here in the UK. Heinz Tang is here from Quebec City. Here the snow 6. Yeah, it's like I said, this has been such a very, very, very strange winter here in New York City. Again, yesterday was 55 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's probably not going to stick, but there's these little flurries coming down here and there. We'll keep an eye on it for you guys, and hopefully we'll get some good views. I'm going to let these people pass since they're playing music.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Lots and lots of people out running today. Diana Lee says, the wind blows the mental cobwebs away. Hey, I'm with you. That's a huge reason why I do these walks. And I really love the live streams because we get to hang out and interact, but that's also why I do the recorded walks. So I'll listen to some music or a podcast or a book, go walk for, a couple hours. It's not just my physical exercise, it is my mental exercise as well. Gregory says, wow, we're almost at 6,000 subscribers. Hey, it's thanks to you guys. All the watching, the engagement, the chatting, the likes, the subscriptions, everything, it all helps. So thank you guys for that. Oh, and by the way, last night we had such a cool walk, ending with a spectacular sunset and views over the Manhattan Bridge. So I'm probably going to cut that video up later. If you tried watching it live yesterday and there was buffering or whatever, I reposted it this morning with a clean backup copy that's much higher quality, so feel free to check that out. But I'm going to cut it into a small video with some music, like a little 5-minute thing with the excerpts of the sunset colors, because they were so spectacular. So stay tuned for that, and if you want to share that, sharing really helps to grow the channel. Oh, and check out this bird. You can get if we have any real birders in the channel, and let us know. This is one of the things we're going to do on this walk, is see the birds when we can. Whoa, beautiful. So beautiful. Yeah, so one of the things we'll do today is we'll stop and see the birds when we see some interesting ones. I'm not like a huge birder. I don't know what they all are, but I know that they're pretty to look at. And I know when they look a little unique, at least. So if we see anything interesting, we'll stop and check them out. Yeah, it looked like a hawk. I mean, like I said, I'm not a huge expert on that by any means. Layla saying hawk, photos from around New York. Hey, good to see you, photos. Probably just a red-tailed hawk. Hey, they're all beautiful to me. Like I said, when we get to the pool, the really hot one right now is this Redhead drake, which is a male duck. So we'll try to find him. And then it's going to be a long time till we get there, because it's kind of on the end of the loop that we're doing. But on Cedar Hill is supposed to be some owls. So when we get to Cedar Hill, we're going to try to find the photographers. If we find the photographers, we'll probably find the owl. So stay tuned for that. Oh, check that out, running with the little kiddo. So hopefully we'll get some good views today, folks. This should be a fun one. I love the loop. Let me sneak out of here for a second without getting in the way of any bikers, but over here is Harlem Meer that I was mentioning. That body of water in the distance is the Harlem Meer. They're doing a bunch of construction on this end of it, which is why you're starting to see all these construction signs. So I don't know how much of it we'll see on this particular walk, but as we get in that direction, we'll try to see what we can see. Ooh. So many. It's just a beautiful morning. Diana Lee. Diana Lee says finding owls will be a hoot.
And then I
Well done. Well done, Diana. So in this area is an actual pool. So we're going to go to a body of water called the pool, but in this area there actually was a real pool that people can swim in. But it's going to be closed for a while. They're doing a ton of construction. When we get around the corner, or just up ahead, there's some fencing where I can show. I'll get a little closer to show you guys, as long as I don't get in the way of the bikes. But I'll show you guys some of the construction that's going on, because it's pretty intense. I just don't want to be in the way of anybody. So this says E06, so we're on east side of the park, 106th Street. We're going to go around this loop, and it'll take us closer to 110th, which is the top of the park. All right, let me see if I can do this. I just got to hug the fence so I don't hit any bikers. but I want to show you guys the construction that's going on over here. It's really intense. Let me see if I can get it to zoom, or focus rather. Let's see. Can we get you to focus? There you go. Look how intense this is. There's a ton going on in there. Ton going on. All right, let's head out. Gregory says, since watching our streams, we've now seen Central Park in all 4 seasons. Well, Gregory, tell me if you agree, but you know, we can come every day and the park is different every single time. There's different, you know, we can go to different areas, of course, but even if you go to the same, you know, the plants are different, the animals are different, the people, you know, if it's busy, if it's empty, if it's raining, if it's snowing, every single day is a little bit different. So it's definitely my favorite place to be in the city. I mentioned there's North Woods, lots of streams and stuff, so let me try to cut over here and we'll show you guys. Trying not to get in anybody's way who's doing legit exercise this morning. But let me show you guys this. This is really beautiful. Latha's never seen that kind of construction in the park. Yeah, it's really intense and it's going to go on for I think like a couple of years. And you know, I feel kind of bad because, like I was saying, the north end is already kind of, it's never as busy. But hopefully when it's done, it'll be a big draw for people. Shiva's here, says, hello, how much did it snow in NYC? So it's like, it's coming down in little flurries. But since we've been talking about the snow so much, I wanted to make sure we got out here. So I'm still seeing it come down. It's very light, very, very, very light, and it's been too warm, so it's not going to stick. But my hope is that there will be big flurries from time to time that we'll capture for you guys. And since we've been talking about the snow like every day, we're going to take whatever we can get. Oh, there's a spot over here I can pop in and show you guys the construction again and be out of the way. So I'll do that in a sec. Okay. Lots of people exercising today. I don't want to get in their way. Isn't this crazy? So yeah, this is Central Park. Again, sort of the Harlem Meer area, north end of the park. And I'll find a link for it later, which should have, you know, description and what do you call it, renderings of what it's supposed to look like when this is all said and done. But it is pretty crazy to see. S. Fields is here. Naim is here from Albania. Ramona's here. It's good to see everybody. Thanks for hopping on. S. Fields says, when I saw the snowflakes, I thought you'd go live. Yeah, we weren't going to miss this. It is coming in little waves, so right now there's not much, but hopefully we'll get another wave in a little bit. I was telling folks, S. Fields, we're going to try to do, as long as I don't get summoned home, we're going to try to do the full loop. So we've pretty much just started, 24 minutes, so we've probably done a little over a mile. We've got 6 miles in total, so we've got 5 more miles. Gergie says, what's the construction for? So they're redoing parts of the Meer and the pool.
I unfairly
And it, to be honest, looks like they have a ways to go. I think I remember reading like it was going to be at least 2024. But if anybody wants to Google the park, Google Central Park Harlem Meer construction or rehabilitation or renovation, I forget what the right word is, but if you guys find any info, I'll read it out. Naeem asks, I wanted to know how much it takes to visit all of Central Park. So this is how I would recommend, if you want to see all of Central Park, what we're doing today is what I would recommend is do the loop, because it takes you to all corners of the park. At my speed, it takes about 2.5 hours, but I don't really stop and I walk somewhat fast. So I would do that. And then, you know, if you are in an area where you want to take a detour, you know, you just pop off the drive and take a little detour. That would add time. So if you wanted to see the entire park, I mean, you could spend an entire day here at least. Easily. E0803, so we're still on the east side of the park at 108th Street. This is 110th right here. So this is the far northern point of the park, coming up on 7th Avenue, which should mark the switch over to the west side of the park. So we should start to see the tags change from E to W. British Grey is here. Good to see you. Good morning. What's the temperature in Florida? Let us know. And if anybody wants to hit exclamation point weather into the chat, we'll get an official forecast for New York City. To our right is Harlem. I did post a couple of videos from Harlem this week, so if you don't have a lot of familiarity with Harlem, or you're interested in Harlem, or you don't see it on the YouTube too often, check out our my Harlem videos from this week. Irene is here, says snow showers in Brooklyn. Yeah, they're sort of coming and going, so we'll see what we see. I don't know how much we'll see today, but it woke us up, or we woke up to snow showers. There we go, courtesy of Latha. Weather for New York City, conditions are cloudy. Temperature of 34 degrees Fahrenheit, 1 degree Celsius. The wind is blowing from the north at 12 miles per hour. Current humidity 63%. Naeem, why everything good in Manhattan? Do you appreciate the other boroughs? What about the Bronx? Yeah, we'll do more. I have some videos from the Bronx, specifically the Botanical Garden. But on my to-do list to get to Arthur Avenue, do a little bit of Little Italy, and I'm open to other suggestions. These days it's a little harder for me to get too far around just because I've got a little newborn at home. So I mostly stick close to home. Hopefully you guys understand. Robojack says the video from around the colleges was impressive. Yeah, so we went up to, since I was in Harlem, finished the Harlem video at Strivers Row, which is really, really, really beautiful if you haven't seen it. Right there is City College of New York. And City College of New York is one of the most beautiful campuses in the United States, full stop. It's really, really, really beautiful. So I did a little walk from City College, and right there is Alexander Hamilton's home, called Hamilton Grange National Monument. Walked from Hamilton Grange and City College to Barnard, Seminary Row, and Columbia. So if you want to see some of the colleges uptown, it's another fun video. Simon Davey says we're going into a cold spell here in the UK next week. Really want some snow. But that's because I don't have to travel. Magna loves the blockhouse right up to the left. Yeah, so the blockhouse, I was pointing the camera, if you saw that little square structure, that and the Arsenal, which I show lots of times, are the two remaining structures that predate Central Park. Two buildings that predate Central Park. Merck is here, says City College of New York. I'm a proud graduate. Well, like I was saying, City College I think is one of the most beautiful campuses in the United States. Those buildings are so beautiful. So I did a little video up there, check that out. Sebastian says it was cold in Florida this morning. Sorry if I move the mic, probably scratched a little. To our right, when we did the perimeter of Central Park, you can see in the distance, that's the New York Cancer Hospital that I think a lot of us enjoyed the architecture. It's really beautiful. So we're now on the northwest corner of the park. Again, doing the full loop. There's a bit of an incline, so breathing a little harder now. It's a little light on the flurries at the moment, so hopefully, like I said, hopefully we'll get some more flurries at some point. We want to see snow. Let me show you guys this map for a second. So this is the North Woods.
I have qualified for new senior supported housing down below houses.
So again, we started kind of down here, a little farther down near the reservoir. We've taken this path. This is where we started to see the construction. We stopped here again to see the construction. We saw the block house. And now we're kind of in this area. So we're going to go around and we're going to stop at the pool. I see Dutch Maz, our good friend and expert New York City tour guide. We're going to pop, one of our detours today is going to be the pool, because there's supposed to be a really beautiful redhead drake. I saw it the other day. It's in my Central Park video, but I was using a camera that didn't zoom. So today, if we see it, we'll do some zooming. And everybody go follow Dutch Maz, licensed New York City tour guide. And also just a hysterical character. Love hanging out with Dutch. And it turns out, Dutch, we almost saw each other yesterday. It looked like you were in the High Line. I was at the High Line, maybe at different times. And I hope you and any of our New Yorkers in the chat, did you guys see that spectacular sunset yesterday? I mean, like top tier sunset. Top tier. And Dutch, today we're doing the full loop of the drives. We're probably about 2 miles in, so we got 4 more to go. Ethan's here. So nice and quiet at Central Park. Layla, yes, we're on duck patrol. Paul Greenwell's here. Good to see you. Simon says the sunset from the Manhattan Bridge was stunning. I can only imagine what it was like in person. Yeah, it was really, really spectacular yesterday. Dutch says, I missed it by 5 minutes. I should have froze longer. I know. I went out with very light clothing on because it said it was in the 50s, but it was like super windy. So I hear you, especially down in lower Manhattan. Super windy, but man, I'm going to make a little short video. I'm going to edit the footage I have, hopefully, with some music. It was just like the whole sky went pink and purple. Stitching with Sue here. Light snow falling in northeastern Pennsylvania. Yeah, we're on a little break right now. So when I got up this morning, I was like, hey, isn't that snow? And then like, it was not enough to rush out, and then like must have been 10 a.m. It was like, whoa, that's like actual snow. So we got out at about 11 because it's all complicated with the everybody getting enough sleep at home these days, so I couldn't rush out immediately. But I got out as quickly as I could, and like I was saying, there's this weird system over New York right now with a donut or bagel hole in the middle of it where there was no activity, and that was Manhattan. But I guess just at the edges we're getting a little bit of the snow. So now and then we should get some flurries. I hope we'll get more that we can show you guys. But if you go to the very beginning, there were still some flurries. So hopefully more. Oh, it's so beautiful today. So we've, if you like the drives, I have a bunch of recorded walks of the loops of Central Park. They're a couple hours long each, about 2.5 hours long. And I always think it's fun. You get to just hear kind of New York City sounds. But we did one in kind of peak foliage season in fall. All of these trees were a million different colors. So do check out some of our older videos so you can see how the park changes from season to season. Obviously right now, very, very bare, but it's very peaceful. Layla, going to get a pot of tea. That sounds lovely. All right, we're coming to the pool, so we're gonna do our first big detour down here and go see if we can find the Redhead drake. Really lovely looking duck. Let's see if we can find him. And beneath us is a beautiful feature called Glen Span Arch, which is making the water rushing sound that you can probably start to hear in a moment. So we'll go see that as well. So we're gonna pop to our right at the next turn, and hopefully we'll find our Redhead drake. Ooh, really cold, really windy today. Oh, ABX. So yesterday, I did lose the chat yesterday, but I read it afterwards. And ABX, you were asking about Riverdale. I still need to make it over there. Still on my to-do list. I apologize. Again, a little harder to get too far from home with the little kiddo, but I really want to visit there, so we'll get there eventually. Gregory says, my favorite video is the one you did in Central Park after the big snow. Yeah, so that was January of last year. It's one of our favorites. A park after a really big snow looks totally transformed. You guys see that gigantic dog? big one. All right, so this is the pool. And there should be a redhead drake in there somewhere. I don't see the ducks, so we'll do a little walk around the pool and see if we can find this duck. And yes, it is one specific duck, very popular on bird Instagram and bird Twitter. So we'll see if we'll see what we can find. Mo is here, good to see you. Everybody mentioning the strange weather. Yeah, it's been super weird lately. Well, first let me show you Glen Span Arch while we're over here. Super pretty. And with the water falling over here. Isn't that pretty? Miguel is here, good to see you. And there's this nice little, tiny little bridge. All right. As I was saying, the North Woods is a really fun area to hike around in. And if you go down through Glen Span Arch, there's lots of little trails, twists and turns to get lost in. It's really a lot of fun. Okay, so I don't see the ducks just yet, so we got to look around. And we're looking for one very specific duck.
Yeah, like, or he's gonna think it's okay, or, we've told him, but
Maybe they're asleep. Who knows? We have to look around. Prince Ice says the snow needs to know how many viewers are waiting. I know, everybody's been so anxious. All right, I see the ducks. Oh, there's so many. I see them. We're gonna go see if we can find our redhead drake. All right. Ooh, and there's the photographers. Okay, we're gonna be quiet. It is not my intention to disturb the ducks, just to see them. There's lots of cool benches and stuff over here. All right, just bear with me and we'll try to find our redhead drake. Here's all the ducks. All right, I'm gonna try to get a little closer, but again, I'm not gonna talk super loudly because I don't want to disturb them. We may have to go around. Oh, there's the redhead. There's the redhead. Let me zoom in. Look how beautiful that is. Wow. I'm gonna go around and we'll get a little closer.
well, it's on the right side.
So that was the redhead duck. We're gonna try to get another angle on it. Merck says, you're not supposed to feed the ducks anymore. Why is that? So the other day I was filming over here and there was a moment where all the ducks gathered and I didn't film it because it was a person feeding them. And let me just show this to you for a second. RJ's here from Colorado. So the reason I didn't film it was I didn't know what she was, I mean, first of all, they're wild animals, they don't need to be fed. But we learned this year, maybe other people already knew this, but I learned this year, my wife and I learned this year that if you feed ducks human food, they can get something called angel wing. So if you ever see a duck and some of its feathers are kind of vertical to its body instead of horizontal to its body, that's angel wing, and it means they can no longer, it impedes their ability to move, like it really hurts them. And apparently has to do with being fed human food. So it just makes me upset now. So that's why I don't film stuff like that anymore. I mean, I've never fed them, but it's why I won't like show it happening, because it just upsets me. And we saw some of the ducks that had that disease. It was really sad when we saw that. So, okay, where did our redhead go? But let me show you the others. Let me zoom in and stuff. They're all really beautiful, aren't they? So again, this is the pool if you're in New York City and want to come take a visit. And this particular duck, the Redhead drake, male duck, is apparently super popular on all the birding communities. It's the only one here, so I don't know. Again, I don't know a ton about birds. I don't know if it's like an unusual bird or just unusual in Central Park or what. It's really beautiful though. I'm glad we found it. Let me show you some of the others because they all have really beautiful colors. Ah, Prince Ice. They are pretty rare, 2% in the entire North American duck population, according to Google. So that would be why it's so popular. There you go. Thanks, Prince Ice. Julie's here. Good to see you. All right. Okay, I think we're going to head back to the drive now, folks. Continue our tour of the park. But I hope you enjoyed that. Gregory says, as a redhead myself, I appreciate the rareness. Oh, Gregory. It's so beautiful over here. It's been a little bit since we saw the flurries. If any of our New Yorkers are here, if you can check the weather radar, I'm curious if there's any more flurries forecasted. But we're going to head back to the drive. We're doing the full loop today. Ray of Sunshine's here. Good to see you. So we're going to go continue our walk. We got to see our little duck detour. We got to see our redhead drake. Rare, 2%. It's good to know. Let's go back over to the drive and we'll continue our tour. So as we get over here, closer to the reservoir, that's where we started, but on the east side of the park. So we've almost gotten from 90, I think we started at 91st Street on the east side, so we're getting closer and closer to 91st on the west side. But we're going to do the full loop, so we still got a ways to go. That was the major detour I wanted to take, but we'll see if we see anything else interesting that captures our attention. I was going to say the reservoir, but we may just go there when we finish, since that'll kind of mark the end of the loop. But maybe we'll pop in very briefly, because actually on the west side is where a lot of the wildlife congregates. As you can tell, figuring this out as we go. For anybody who's newer to the channel, our New Year's Day walk was the perimeter of Central Park. Today we're doing another full loop, but this time inside of the park. Through the trees in the middle of the frame, the twin-topped building is the El Dorado, which marks us getting closer to the reservoir. Farther down near the lake and near Strawberry Fields would be the San Remo. A lot of beautiful, beautiful buildings along Central Park West. Layla says, snow appears to be mostly over LaGuardia and Flushing right now. Okay, good to know. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it wasn't even in the forecast, but I woke up and a decent amount was coming down. Big flurries. So hopefully we'll get a little more. The sky, as you can see, is super cloudy, so hopefully, you know, there may be some in there yet. Coming up to the tennis courts. They were super, super busy during the US Open. Those fields, gotta love those strawberry fields. And the Dakota, of course, right over there. We do love the strawberry fields. Maybe that's another detour. We may take a detour over at Strawberry Fields, see if there's any music. Why not? Such a beautiful day. Layla says there were some visible flurries when I joined the stream. Yeah, at the very beginning we did capture some. All morning it said no chance of anything, and then around 10 and 11 it started to say, oh, there might be some flurries. And it mentioned noon. So let's see, what time is it? 12:10. So we may still get some. We may get some more, I hope. Fingers crossed, folks. Many of us, I should say, have been wanting to see the snow. I've been posting about the snow and we've been talking about it. And it turns out there's a lot of folks who are very happy to have no snow. And some of them, it's like, you know, it makes it difficult for them to get around. So I totally understand. But I think some folks just don't like snow. It didn't occur to me how many people would be like, no, I'm good without the snow. Simon Davey says, I've just booked a flight to New York. It's all my fault. Whoops, my bad. Layla says the donut hole is now over Park Slope. So can you guys clear this up for me? Is this an actual tree, or is this like a cell phone tower? What is this thing? Is this a tree? It's so weird looking. Such a strange tree. Gregory says, I've had so little experience with snow, but I love being in it when possible. I mean, I just think it gets beautiful. The park in particular gets beautiful. I'll tell you guys, it gets hard to move around the city, but it does. I think it's very beautiful. So the people you see on the path just up ahead, that's the reservoir. We'll probably pop in just for a second, just see if there's any wildlife on this side. But that's where we'll end the stream, on the other side of it. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time over here. Hey, it's Tamara here. Good to see you from Armenia. Thanks for being on. Again, the beautiful El Dorado. Check this building out. It's really spectacular as we round the corner. Can you imagine being in one of those upper apartments overlooking the reservoir? Maybe somebody in the chat knows any famous residents in the El Dorado. Beautiful building. Layla says, I'd like to know who pruned that tree. Oh, and Prince Ice. Korean men fear snow, which brings back military memories covered in the shovels in the snow. Yeah, I bet. That's a good point, Prince Ice. Yes, fields. Mark says, snow is beautiful, but sometimes it can be too much, like we've had recently in Minnesota. Yeah, and upstate New York, it was really terrible. Too much, way too much. That's pretty rare here in New York. That's more of a big storm, so it's not what I'm hoping for. Let me, again, we'll pop out here for a moment just to go see the reservoir, see if there's any animals. But we'll probably do more of the reservoir when we get back to the other side.
Yeah, I love them so much.
This area during cherry blossom season is particularly beautiful. Ooh, yes, lots of animals. John says, I'll have my personal assistant call you with my contact at the Dakota. And Mo keeping the secrets. Well done. I don't blame you. Field's past residents, Marilyn Monroe and Groucho Marx. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Diana Ross, Jerry Seinfeld, Tony Randall. Wow. That's pretty cool. Really beautiful over here, isn't it? So where we started this stream is right over here. So we've made our way around the park. That's just around 91st Street on the east side, so we must be 91st Street on the west side. So we're going to continue. We'll go back over to the reservoir when we make it back around. But today we're looping, doing the 6-mile loop, the drives here in Central Park. And we've got a ways to go. Ooh, look, little tour here.
This one was built at the time of Central Park. It was called Central Park Reservoir. Now they changed the name to Jacqueline, Onassis.
Totally, Mo. Totally. Prince Ice says a lot of ducks. Yeah, tons. It's funny, when we did a night walk not too long ago, and that's what they looked like. So maybe some of them are feeding, but a lot of them may be sleeping. Really beautiful buildings over here, huh? Again, this is Central Park West that we're looking at. So we may do a little detour when we get closer to the Dakota. But for the most part, we're doing the drives here in Central Park, the 6-mile loop. We're, let's see, maybe a third, a little more, somewhere between a third and a halfway done. Something like that. Beautiful day, lots of folks came out, probably woke up to see the flurries out of their windows, hoping to see a little on their morning run. Prince Ice says the stories behind those buildings are always interesting to learn. I agree. I mean, a lot of them are very old, have probably had fascinating people living in them. Tokyo's here, Cowboy Bill. Esfield says, interesting to see the frequent runners versus the New Year's resolution runners. I have to say, considering it is pretty cold this morning because of the wind, this is a decent number of people. So maybe a lot of New Year's resolutions still in effect so far. Andrea Jordan's here. Good morning. Andrea, did you see any of the snow flurries this morning? It dragged me out of the apartment. Look at the tip top of this building. This is so funny. Isn't that funny? That's okay, Tamara. We have a bunch of folks who joined to learn English. John says, I wonder about the interior design of some of those buildings. Art Deco, maybe. Yeah, I think a good number of them are. But it is a good question. There are many different styles along Central Park West. One of these days, I'll have to read about, learn some architecture. Ooh, and as we start to round the corner, you will begin to see the gigantic, skinny towers of Billionaires Row. So over the next half mile, we should start to be seeing more and more of that. This really is one of my favorite walks. So the loops take you to every corner of the park. It's about 6 miles at a decent clip. There's lots of hills and other stuff. You can probably do it in about 2 hours. We're doing lots of detours today, so it'd probably take us longer. But it's so beautiful. So I really, if that's something you're interested in and able to do, I really recommend it. But if not, I have many videos of the loop. Just go into my channel, and in the search bar, I think if you just type drives, that should be in all of the titles, the Central Park drives. This is the Arthur Ross Pinetum to our left, so lots of pine trees. Always smells really beautiful over here. And just behind the pine trees is the Great Lawn, which we've seen and talked about many, many times. For some reason, the geese assemble there in huge numbers. And in fact, I can see, for some reason, the Great Lawn attracts all of the geese. It's so funny, because there's so many other places in the park that are, that to me seem like they'd be fewer people. Let me zoom in just so you guys can see, because it's so hysterical. There's so many of them. Do you see all of them? They cover the field. I don't know why they pick that particular, but they, for some reason, truly adore the Great Lawn. And they assemble by the hundreds. And if you stick around there, you'll see them do these fly in, beautiful formation from time to time. It's really wonderful. There's Billionaires Row in the distance. And this particular part of Central Park, if you're familiar with the history, is where Seneca Village used to be. As one imagines, anytime something big like Central Park, so Central Park is man-made, and in order to build something like a park of this size, 843 acres, you do have to displace people. Seneca Village, one of those areas that was displaced, largely African American. And there's lots of signs that talk about the history, but feel free to go on Google, type in Seneca Village, Central Park, if you want to read about the history. Really interesting, and obviously the sort of thing everybody's reckoning with these days. We are at West 82nd Street now. The park goes from 59th on the south to 110th on the north, from 8th Avenue on the west to 5th Avenue on the east. Middle of the frame, 432 Park Avenue. Lots of landmarks that help situate you as you explore New York City. Terry's here, good to see you.
February or right after, okay.
One of these days I need to learn the name of all the bridges and arches. Look how beautiful this is. Super pretty. Simon says, going to prep dinner as I watch. Just poured a glass of wine in our honor. Hey, that's super kind. Asked, what is our favorite wine? That is a very good question. I don't know that I have a favorite. I like to dabble. My wife, her favorite is Prosecco. So we frequently have Prosecco, and she's more of a fan of white wines versus red wines. So we have a lot of white wines. And I like things that tend to be of the drier, minerally variety, if that makes any sense. So I'm really interested in wines from places like Greece, Mediterranean. Delacorte Theater to our left, where they do Shakespeare in the Park. And to our right, if we were to exit the park here, it would drop us right at the American Museum of Natural History. Also to our left, if we were to pop in, is Belvedere Castle. But I think our next detour is going to be the lake and maybe Strawberry Fields, since we've mentioned it. So when we were near the reservoir, I showed you a twin-topped building, the El Dorado. As we get closer to the lake, there's another twin-topped building, which is San Remo, has the ornate top, and then a little farther down, another twin-topped building, which does not have as ornate a top. That is the Majestic. So if you see these two buildings near each other, you know you're near the lake, which also has good bird watching. Big bird time for the park. You'll see tons of people with the most impressive cameras and lenses, you know, the size of your arm. It's the funniest thing, which must cost thousands of dollars. So people take that super seriously. This is the Swedish Cottage Marionette Theater. Always beautiful to walk by, and again takes you right up to Belvedere Castle. And in front of it, Shakespeare Garden. We're not going to head over there these days because it's a little bare right now given the season, but in spring and summer, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. S. Fields, ooh, San Remo, past famous residents. Spielberg, Donna Karan, Demi Moore, Dustin Hoffman, Steve Martin. Well, I mean, to my mind, they have very excellent taste. To be up there with a view of the lake in Central Park, watching the people in the rowboats, oh, that must be so beautiful. Should we go see, let's go see Oak Bridge. Let's go see Oak Bridge. It'll get us a nice view of the lake. Sue Pitchford's here. Hey, Sue. Good to see you. Good morning. I know Seinfeld at one point has, I think he has a building in the West Village which has a huge garage for all his cars. And I think it was like a fully operational garage with lots of with folks who had taken care of everything. If I remember correctly. Let's head over here to the left to see Oak Bridge, which is a beautiful area. You'll often see engagements and stuff. I've seen more than a few over here. It's sort of like Bow Bridge, but a little fewer people. So it's a little more remote, a little more peaceful. Hey, William from Brooklyn's here. Always good to see you, pal. We're doing a full loop in Central Park. Gregory Kelly says, I'd have good taste too if I could afford $25 million for an apartment at the San Remo. So this is the lake with the towers of Billionaires Row in the background. And in the summertime, this is where you would see all of the rowboats.
Yeah, I bet.
Really beautiful. And there's lots of places around the lake where you can walk and visit. Let's continue along. William, if you go back to the beginning of our stream, I did catch a little bit of the snow on the feed. I left my apartment because it was really blowing. Like we had, like anybody would look at it and be like, whoa, it's really snowing. But it's just been flurries, so it's just here and there. I think it's been now about 30 minutes since we last saw any, so hopefully we'll see more, but just seeing any, it's been such a quiet snow season that I had to rush out, get whatever I could get. Hopefully more to come. Layla says the 25 million is just the initial investment. Just think about the monthly maintenance fee. Yeah. So for folks who aren't as familiar with New York real estate, there isn't just the cost of purchasing an apartment. Almost every building has what's called a maintenance fee, and this pays for your building, some of your amenities, so things like doormen. In some super high-end buildings, it can be things like elevator operators at like the very high end, but also your boiler, repairs, all sorts of stuff to maintain and operate the building. And the funny thing is, some people can buy, $1 million apartment, and the maintenance fee will be the price. The monthly maintenance will cost just as much as an entire apartment in another city. And so, for a $25 million apartment, yeah, I can't imagine how much you pay per month. It's probably absurd. And then, of course, there's the taxes on top of that. More ducks. More ducks. Yeah, Gregory, it's got to be at least in the tens of thousands. The question is just how many. There's various landings over here. Fun places to sit, and again, on warmer times, you'll see musicians over here. It's a little cold. There may be some musicians at Bethesda, but I don't think we're going to make it to Bethesda today because it's kind of in the middle, and we're kind of doing the perimeter. We're going around it. If you go on a website called Street Easy, that's a great New York City real estate website. It'll generally indicate what the maintenance fees run. So straight in the middle of the frame is the Dakota. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to pop out here, do our next detour, and go see if there's any music over at Strawberry Fields in honor, of course, of our moderator, Strawberry Fields. So let's pop up here and let's go see what's going on, what's happening at Strawberry Fields. Whoa, Sue was born just outside Reading, which is where Simon Davey is. Hey, that's awesome. Let me show you guys the Dakota, the Majestic. There's lots of beautiful, really, really beautiful buildings along Central Park West. Yeah, unfortunately I haven't found the nearly enough change in the couch cushions to get into any of these. I told this story once. I had a family member who once in the 80s had an opportunity to rent along Central Park West for a mere hundreds of dollars, but he was recently out of school and that was unaffordable, unattainable. It's just so hard to believe that once upon a time you could have rented some of these units for mere hundreds of dollars. Squirrel perch. Beautiful. Oh, jumped. Maybe I spooked it. Over here at the Dakota and Strawberry Fields, lots of the pedicabs assemble, so if that's something you're interested in, this is where you could very easily pick up a ride. Ooh, I hear music. But first, let me show you, let me get a clear image of the Dakota since we're over here. And we keep talking about it. Last time I was over here, I got yelled at by the pedicabs because I kept getting in their way. Whoops. My bad. How beautiful is this? Everybody thinking about John Lennon? And they have those gas lamps near the entrance. And if you go over there, there is a sort of interior space that's really beautiful to look at. If anybody knows anybody who can get us a tour, I would love to do that one day. Really special, isn't it? Wish they would make more buildings like this these days. All right, let's head into Strawberry Fields. Let's go. I heard the music, so let's follow the music as we continue our loop of the park. Diane is here from the UK. We have lots of UK friends today. And Simon was here from 06 to 09 and again 16 to 17. Hey.
Oh, there you go. That's okay. Or something. I don't know.
Ooh, not as many people today, so we'll get a nice clear view of the mosaic.
Remember, I'll always be true. And then while I'm away, I'm at home every day. And I send all my loving to you. All my loving, I will send. All my loving, darling, I'll be true. All my loving, all my loving. Oh my loving, I will send to you.
So beautiful, isn't it? Well, a moment to reflect, a moment to think about peace and love to all of you out there. Hey, very kind of you, Diane. We love our subscribers. Thanks for being with us. We do regular walks around New York City and more live streams. Let me show you guys this little plaque. Strawberry Fields, imagine all the people living life in peace, John Lennon. And the many countries that endorse this area as a garden of peace in partnership with Yoko Ono. Beautiful. And then let me I'm not going to go over there today because again we're kind of doing around the park as opposed to in the park, but check out this view of Bow Bridge. Through the trees. Beautiful Bow Bridge. It must be cold today because I'm running through the battery, so I'm going to kind of pick up the pace a tiny bit. I've noticed the phone does kind of run through the battery a little bit more when the temperatures go way down. And I didn't start with a full charge today. I do have an extra battery in my pack, but if we switch to that, we lose the mic, which would make the audio suffer. So I think we'll pick up the pace a little bit and see if we can get our full loop in. Nobody coming. And then we have to cross one more time. You got to look in all directions because there's bikes, there's carriages, there's folks running, and I really don't want to hit anybody. Sorry for bumping the camera, just trying to organize things here for a second. Whatever, it's good enough. As we round the corner over here, we're going to come up to Tavern on the Green. If anybody remembers Ghostbusters, so many film locations from movies, but the one that always sticks out in my mind is Ghostbusters. And Carney's here. Good to see you. Thanks everybody for joining and hanging on out with us. We're doing the 6-mile loop here in Central Park. And if the snow brought you in, scroll back to the very beginning where there were still some flurries coming down. It's been a little bit, unfortunately, since we've seen the snow. But at the very beginning, I did get some for you guys. So feel free to scroll back for that. To our left, the beautiful sheep meadow. Oh, that's so funny. Sam says because of the video delay, the closed captioning comes up a split second before he hears it. Oh, that's so, I had no idea. That's so funny. So you know what I'm saying before I'm going to say it. I had no idea. I've said it, I probably haven't said it in a while, but I'm on a campaign. I want all live streamers to turn on closed captioning. It's just a checkbox. And there's a lot of people who, you know, watch on mute, or they're hard of hearing, or they're trying to learn English. And even though it's not 100% accurate, I'm a huge fan of the closed captioning. So I hope other streamers start to use it more. And to be honest, I don't know why Google doesn't just, or YouTube, turn it on by default. But that's so funny that it comes up a little before I say things. That's hysterical. Tavern on the Green to our right. Sheep Meadow to our left. The gate is closed, so they're probably letting the lawn rest. A little pricey, but on nice days they have a sort of terrace in this area where you could go for drinks and stuff. And they do have public restrooms available right there as well. So even if you think, you know, it's maybe a little too pricey for a full meal, there's probably a couple ways you could go hang out there. I love Sheep Meadow, and if you want to see something really funny, Google Sheep Meadow sheep, because they literally used to run sheep there who would clean the grass, eat it all up, natural lawn mowing. Lathe, very closed captioning, just called Sheep Meadow, sheep metal. Well, like I said, it's not 100% accurate. Still, I think, better than nothing. So folks, we've made it to now 3 corners of the park. We are now coming to Columbus Circle, which marks the southwest corner of the park. So we have made it to 3 corners of the park. Esfield says, I've actually heard if you're going to go to Tavern on the Green, go to the terrace, not inside. The only time I've been to Tavern on the Green, it was for a work event. And, you know, when something is catered for a work event, it's very different than, you know, having your own meal there. So I'm afraid I can't really speak to the quality. Let me just say that. One of our viewers, Jess Norell, was there on Christmas. So next time she's on, we should ask how she enjoyed her time there. I mean, if nothing else, my guess is it was really beautiful. I bet it was really beautiful inside. Yeah, Layla, I don't understand it at all why they don't just turn on by default, because a ton of people, like, you know, there's plenty of times where I don't want to wake up, you know, my wife or the kiddo.
But I was like, because like you never know how to like handle that shit.
But then live streams, you know, you lose. The conversation is a huge aspect of it, so I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. I'm sure there's a reason somewhere. Esfield says, I read a terrible review of the Russian tea room. Well, that was a whole other thing when the conflict between Russia and Ukraine started. There were lots of protests of the Russian tea room, although I think at the time they said, hey, it's just the name, we're not from there, we're not something like that. So I don't know, they've been in the news a lot, it feels like.
Now listen, when I was in elementary.
There's a big billboard up ahead with the time and the temperature, 12:49 p.m., 34 degrees Fahrenheit. So actually when we started it was 32, so we've gone up 2 degrees. A heat wave. Another one of the little bridges over here. There's so many beautiful spots in the park. Let's see, I think I turned on my, oh, I didn't. I was gonna check my watch for some stats, but I forgot to turn that feature on, my bad. Colleen says, thank you so much for this wonderful, relaxing walk. Hey, thanks for being with us. This is one of my favorites, just the drives. You can hop on to these drives anywhere in the park. And again, it takes you to all corners of the park, so it's a great way to see everything. Give yourself the lay of the land. So I really recommend it. And it's except in the northern part, there's lots of hills, I'll tell you that. But for the most part, it's just a kind of nice winding walk. It's really beautiful. Stormy says maybe it would be less controversial if they became the British tea room. I'm sure they never imagined, after all the stuff restaurants went through over the last couple of years, that they would have to deal with that as well. So we're now walking along Central Park South, and then just behind Central Park South, which is 59th Street, is 57th Street, and the towers of Billionaires Row. I love the sign of the Essex House right there. We walked by Park Lane, the Park Lane Hotel the other day, and then at the other end, the Plaza Hotel when we reached the fourth corner of the park. Many fancy hotels, lots of restaurants. Gabriel's supposed to be pretty good. And there is a Sarah Beth's, which is a very, very popular brunch spot in New York City. I know it's slightly off the point, but there is in the Village a couple of British spots. Tea and Sympathy. My wife loves that. We've done high tea there a couple of times. It's really fun. The people there are so nice. So if you're ever in the Village, go check out Tea and Sympathy. It's a totally, it feels like you're not in New York anymore. It's really funny. And the food is excellent. Paolo's here from Italy. We love Italy. Hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. This end of the park, there's Umpire's Rock, the Heckscher Fields. This is kind of the kids area. The carousel's in there, in the direction where I'm pointing the camera right now. So lots of fields. There's playgrounds all over the park, but there seems to be like a heavy concentration of kids' activities in this little area. So kind of the southwest corner of the park. Lots of fields, lots of ball fields, the carousel, the skating rink a little farther ahead, closer to the east side, but lots of family and kids activities down here. And over here at 6th Avenue, that's where a lot of the horse carriages congregate. I think that's not for everybody, but for those of you who it is for. David Duncan remembers going to Mickey Mantle's on Central Park South. Hey, that's super cool. I would have loved to experience that. I'm thankful we were able to experience a few of the classic New York things from New York history. So we've done Francis Tavern, although it's become a little more of a, what's the best way to say this? It's a little more commercial, a little touristy. When one of my best friends got married, we took him and his husband to the 21 Club. That was one of the most spectacular experiences we ever had in New York. Really historic. Trying to think what else of real history. Some of the oldest things. Lombardi's Pizza. Possibly one of the oldest pizzerias in the United States. John's on Bleecker. Ria's here, good to see you. Good to see everybody, lots of friends in the chat today. We're doing a full loop here in Central Park. We're probably about 2/3 of the way done. I'm hoping the battery will last the last third. Probably not going to make as many detours anymore to try to get the whole walk in. But it's been a beautiful walk today. Julie, yes. Yeah, I saw Fernando's over in the... It looked like he was not in the United States. Hope he's doing well. I see Fernando from time to time at parades and stuff. He's such a nice guy. We've had the good fortune of meeting many of the New York City streamers here and there. Wishing all of them well. It's a fun little community. Chumley's. And what's the other one I'm thinking of? What's the other one I'm thinking of? McSorley's. And we mentioned the Ear Inn last night. Lots of classic New York, old New York spots. Thankfully, a handful of them still exist. RJ says it's great runner weather. It really is nice, and the good thing right now is there's no ice. Because when it starts to really snow and get much colder and it rains, you start to get ice here. So it's not too bad today, RJ. You're totally right. You are totally right. Ooh, it's a nice cool day. Oh, there's the carousel I was mentioning. I look forward to taking my little kiddo there one day when he gets a little bigger. His most visited place in New York City, of course, is Central Park. We take him here. Probably not as often as we should, but I do think it's his most visited place. Stormy says Monday, the holiday for Martin Luther King, is New York City having a parade? Ooh, that's actually a good question. I don't know the answer to that. 125th Street, which we just visited on a video, is also known as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. And I wonder if they do any parades or events there. If anybody knows, let me know, and we'll, you know, if our schedule allows, we may check it out. Simon Davey enjoys the Cast Pub next to Carnegie Hall. Good mix of American and British. Ooh, there's a British hotel, the William, I think it's called, and then the restaurant there is British, which we had once. It was really good. I can't remember the name of it though, and this was years ago, so some stuff did not survive the last few years, so apologies. The dairy to our right, the beautiful dairy, which is the gift shop and the visitor center, and at night is lit up beautifully. And then to our left is the mall and the literary walk, which is going to be one of the most beautiful spots in the park when it snows fully, when it really comes down and sticks. So stay tuned for that. I'm not sure when, but When it happens, we'll be here. Surfboard's here. Always good to see you, pal. You can hear the drummer on the mall. There's always lots of good music on the mall. And some not so good music sometimes.
Back there, Robert Burns, the Walter Scott. And then, as you can see, all the trees there.
Simon says, just Googled MLK parades in NYC. Seems there might be one at 3 p.m. in Central. Okay, I'll have to check that out. That's super, if that's the case, that's super convenient. So I will look into that. Not doing as many detours now because we're running through the battery, but just beneath us, right this moment, I'm trying to see if there's a spot where we could see it at all, is the Balto statue. Maybe over here where the pedicab stopped. Maybe I'll be able to get a view of it. Yeah, I think we might pop out. We'll do a very quick detour to see Balto, since we'll be since we have protection here. And then the other sled dog, Togo. There's a similar statue of Togo down in Chinatown, Lower East Side of Manhattan, which we're gonna do a Chinatown and Little Italy, Lower East Side. We'll do some live streams from those areas at some point. So at some point I'll try to get you guys a view of Togo, but that sled dog is in some of my recorded videos. Especially I think any of the videos covering Canal Street, probably at the very end. Laytha enjoying Balto. It's a beautiful statue, and I know it really brings joy to people. The Togo statue's in a little park next to a library. It's really nice over there, surrounded by trees. Lots of people sitting and reading. It's really nice. So I'll have to visit there one of these days. Surfboard says, I can't believe there's no snow yet. So we've been posting that New York has not had any, quote, measurable snow for the 4th longest stretch since recordings began. And we talked about this yesterday, and then today I woke up and there was snow. Big flurries, like really big flurries, covering the window. So we ran out eventually. And if you scroll back to the very beginning of the stream, you can see some of the flurries. There weren't too many. I didn't go out quickly enough to get the biggest bunch of them. But there is a little bit of snow in the beginning of the video. But too warm to stick. And Naeem would like us to do a video in Astoria. Hey, I'll add it to the list. I will add that to the list. Hopefully we'll make it eventually. Ooh, and I can hear the chimes of the Delacorte clock. So what is it? Is it 3:30? Or not 3:30, what am I talking about? Sorry, I got what Simon said stuck in my head. 1 p.m. Must be 1 p.m. Robert's here, good to see you. The Naumburg bandshell is just on the other side of this. You could probably see the round top of it. Jason's here. I'll be back in my sweet New York soon. Yeah, the Delacorte clock starts a couple minutes late, so it probably started at like 1:02, and I was hearing the tail end of it. We're coming up. This is the 72nd Street entrance at 5th Avenue. And I always tell you guys, this is one of the best entrances to the park, on either side of the park. Over here, it takes you to Conservatory Water. It takes you to Loeb Boathouse. Keep going, it'll take you to Bethesda Fountain. And if you enter on the west side, it takes you right there to Strawberry Fields, where we visited just a little while ago. And just nearby, the Tavern on the Green. 72nd is a great place to enter the park. And this is Pilgrim Hill, which is another spot that during cherry season looks absolutely spectacular. So we'll be back for cherry season when the time comes. Adriana's here. Good to see you. Ron's here from the Netherlands. Sierra's here. It's good to see everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. So we explore Central Park today. We've had some flurries, mostly towards the beginning of the stream, so if you want to go back and see any of that. Okay, let me try to cross safely. I've been yelled at so many times crossing this intersection because I didn't see somebody rounding the corner super fast. Didn't get yelled at today. Success. Super fun to see everybody. So if you did want to see the snow, scroll back to the very beginning of the stream where there were some of the flurries. But it's been a little quiet for the last while, I'm afraid. Many of us are impatiently waiting the big snow with no indication of when it will come. So the fact that I saw any today, I jumped out of bed and got out of the apartment as quickly as I could. Esfield says it's character building intersection. And there's the Conservatory Water. Really, really beautiful place to sit in the park. There's the San Remo where we were earlier. Again, we're doing a full loop of the park, and it really a wonderful way to see all of the big sites, or many of them at least. This is the Loeb Boathouse, currently closed for business. The last operator, I guess, faced some difficulties, closed shop. There was a little back and forth where it looked like they might have reopened, but it fell through. So currently the Loeb Boathouse closed for business. It looks like the public restrooms are thankfully open there. So the park must operate those. That's good to know. That's actually really good to know. But yeah, if you were hoping to go to the Loeb Boathouse to eat, unfortunately closed. Oh, I mentioned at the beginning of the stream we've been doing a little bit of bird watching as we've been going around. That Cedar Hill, which is where we're coming up to right this second, has apparently some owls. So I'm going to keep my eyes open for any photographers, because if we see photographers, they've probably found the owls, and I would love to capture them on the stream for you guys. So I'll see if I spot anybody. That would be really fun. Ooh, and my shoelaces are coming untied. That's unfortunate. I have to pause at some point. Hey, Sister Surround is here. Says, this is so calming. Thank you. And hey, I saw your very generous super chat. Sorry about last night. We lost the ability to see the chat last night. I did leave a comment saying thank you to everybody who did very, very, very kindly leave a super chat. So thank you again, Sister Surround. Appreciate that. Appreciate you. I'm glad you enjoy the walks. And our good friend ER Trauma's here. Greetings from cold, gray Nevada. Looks like it's going to snow, but it's not quite cold enough. Yeah, we had some nice flurries this morning. And if anybody wants to see the snow, scroll back to the beginning of the stream, you'll see the flakes. Not a ton, but there's been so little snow this year, just some dustings that we'll take what we can get right now. Check out this little guy. All right, I got to start paying attention for the photographers. I see folks looking around at the trees. Look at the lens that guy's got. That's serious business. All right. We're looking for photographers and seeing if anybody sees anything. That guy's got he's got a tripod and a massive lens. It's crazy. So far today we've seen, now you asked, what about the number of people in the park? Is there a particular time where there's more people? So for sure, spring and summer, for sure. And then within that, a weekend, a nice Saturday in the spring or the summer, and the lawns will be covered with people. I mean, thousands of people. And then during winter, it'll be after a really big snow, where all the folks come out to play in the snow. Bring their dogs, they bring their kids. Those are the busiest times. All right, that was the only photographer I saw. So no owl today, but we did see a hawk at the beginning. And we also saw the redhead drake we were looking for at the pool. I'll tag those later so people can go back. Yeah, surfboard, the reason I left the apartment this morning was actually a very decent amount was blowing around. But it was coming in these little 5-10 minute increments. So I was hoping that would keep happening, but we saw what we saw. Sierra's asking, are we going to go today to Bryant Park? This is probably our walk for today. Today, Central Park. Maybe we'll do more tomorrow. I'm out of recorded videos, so we'll probably have to go live until I can get enough time to do some recordings. This is the Met on our right, which means on our left is Cleopatra's Needle, otherwise known as the obelisk. Beautiful. Leigh thus says, when it snows, all the bales of hay come out. The kids go sledding. That really is such a beautiful time. I'll be back when that happens, provided my wife can watch the kiddo. I try to come out 2 times. You want to come in the very, very, very early morning, because that's when the parents bring the dog out. And then a couple hours later, because you got to warm the kids up, you got to get them all dressed up, in all their snow outfits. Then the kids come out a little later, 10 or 11 a.m. It's the funniest thing. All right, I need to I need to pause up ahead at some point, tie my shoelace. Noble Sweetness is here. Steph is here. Eureka. Yeah, Steph. If you scroll back, we were just talking to Steph yesterday because she's coming to visit and wanted to see the snow. And we were talking that there was no indication of whether. Scroll back to the very beginning of the stream, Steph, and you'll see. Not a ton, but you'll see some snow. Layla says sometime Caleb will be out on his sled. Yep, I can't wait. And I saw touring different places. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. So we're actually coming towards the end. Let me, we started at 91st Street and we're at now probably 82nd, 83rd Street on the east side. So we're coming to the end. I think what we're going to do though is pop up to the reservoir and we'll finish with the last leg along the reservoir. Hopefully my shoelace will last long enough. And so will the battery. We've got 12% left. We'll see if both last. That statue right there is Alexander Hamilton. And if you check out one of our videos from a couple days ago, we actually went to his house, Hamilton Grange. Video has Alexander Hamilton in the title. If you want to see what his house looked like, at least the outside of it. Dorgrock is here. I have to go back and see the hawk. Yeah, if I can try to find all the spots. We've had some nice bird sightings today. I really wanted to see the owl. There's apparently a couple owls in the park right now, but my method of finding the birds is to find the people who found the birds. And I didn't see any photographers, so another day. But we did see the beautiful redhead drake at the pool. We actually had some really nice footage of the redhead drake, so go check out. And again, I'll add some chapters later so it'll be easier to scroll around the video. But that redhead drake was beautiful, really beautiful. Yeah, I'm gonna pause here for a second, tighten that lace. Just give me a second. Bear with me.
That's not even the first person here.
Sorry if I'm hitting the mic. Apologies. Okay, we're back in business. Okay, back in business. Oh yeah, that feels much better. Okay, so we're gonna head up. We're gonna finish our loop of the park by the reservoir, which this section of the drive runs parallel to. And I've told you guys before, if you've been on, the reservoir is probably, for my wife and I, our most visited space in the park, where we each go to get exercise. And if you enjoy it, I have probably 20 videos of the reservoir. Who knows? I have so many.
I always feel one of the reasons that I
This is the south gatehouse for the reservoir. Roberto's here. Good to see you. Built in 1864. Reservoir renamed after Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. So this is the Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis Reservoir here in Central Park. Really beautiful, very relaxing. Something like a 1.5 mile loop running track here. So as we walk around, we'll hear lots of people running next to us. If you visit, please know it does go in one direction. You will see people go in the wrong direction, but it drives everybody crazy. Stormy says tried to videotape the owls, but they're too smart. They don't like it. That's good to know. That's good to know. They really like to blend in, which is why I wasn't going to try to figure out myself where they are, because I'm not an expert at finding them. You can really hear that water today, huh? It's super windy. When it freezes overnight, all that wind, the water sort of blows against the side of the reservoir, and you'll see all these pockets of ice around it. It's really beautiful. There's the fountain and the El Dorado on the other side. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, and if you really do like the reservoir, we started a late night stream here one day, a week or two ago. It was truly beautiful. Beautiful lights and reflections on the water. So feel free to check that out. To our right, the Guggenheim. Ah, Simon, that's a very nice memory. That is a very nice memory. I mean, many of my favorite New York City memories: go to a nice little restaurant, pick up some food, go to a cool little area, usually a park, and having a little picnic. Lots of good places to do that. Yeah, there's some really special views over here. Really nice. Yes, Fields, I hope folks enjoyed this. I have a couple of recorded videos of the drives. And I'll add some chapters later so folks can easily click around the video, figure out where the major sites are. But yeah, we're coming to the end here. I gotta head back home, get some lunch with the fam. I kind of rushed out on them this morning without much of a plan, so gotta go relieve the family for duty. My turn to take care of the kiddo after rushing out. Let's see, looking at the time here. So we did this pretty fast today, so 2 hours, 8 minutes. We did 6 miles. I'm pretty happy with that. We got to see every corner of the park. We got to see some really beautiful bird sites, which again, I'll do some tagging later so you guys can find it, revisit it. And we started the stream with some of the first flurries of the season. So a little bit of snow. So this has been, I think, a pretty fun walk today, friends. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And of course, many, 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 many friendly faces along the way. So I appreciate you guys for that. So this is Engineers Gate, where we walked in this morning. So we've officially made it around the park, overlooking the Cooper Hewitt. This is where we start many of our walks on the Upper East Side. 2 hours, 10 minutes, 7% battery left. Cutting it close. Let's listen to some water sounds for a little bit. But yeah, big thank you to everybody for being here. Thanks for hanging on out. We'll probably do another live tomorrow since, like I said, I still don't have any recordings lined up. Not sure when, so consider subscribing, hit the notification bell. We love hanging out with everybody. And we'll see you again real soon. Thanks for being with us, folks. Have a great rest of your day. If you're in New York, hopefully we see a little bit more snow flurries later today. Be safe, be healthy, and I'll see y'all again real soon. Noble Sweetness, Leva, touring different places, Surfboard, Colleen, the ABX girl, Simon Davies, Stormy, Valeria, S. Fields, Roberto, Dorgrock, Sharni, Ramona, Sue, and everybody else who's on, joining with us. Again, thanks for being with us. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you real soon, folks. Bye.